Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm going to do another stream, this time with a very special guest. Inshallah, if he joins us on Zoom, then he can tell us more about himself. I would like him to introduce himself, inshallah, when he joins. But before we do, I just want to make sure
Wabarakatuh.
that we
I'm
are
going to do
running. Yeah, we are definitely on YouTube. I just did a quick check. So yeah, all we have to do now is just wait for our guests. But while we're waiting, oh, there he is. He's just joining. Faisal Hussein. He currently does a project with a major bank, and he's going to tell us more about himself. So I'm going to admit him into Zoom just now. Inshallah, he will join us.
Hello.
Hi, assalamu alaikum. Can you hear
Walaikum
us?
salam. Hi. Oh, my video have just turned
Oh,
on.
there you
Yes.
are. Oh,
Hi.
mashallah. How are you?
Hi. Hi. I'm good. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Is Moz Bhai joining as well? Sorry.
I think he's quite busy just now.
Oh,
We
okay.
did
Okay.
we did a great show together. I know
Mm-hmm.
Mujahid and you and me, we have common friends. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Sure.
he
Sure.
did. Yeah, we did a great show, but unfortunately, it was near to Maghrib time, so we wrapped up very quickly as well as
Oh, okay.
because
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
using Zoom, they have a limit time as well when you're
Mm-hmm.
doing
Mm-hmm.
a meeting. I will
Okay.
upgrade to the Business Pro version, which
Sure.
gives you unlimited time and stuff like that. Yeah, but what we're really interested to know, because I spoke to you before, and I got to know you,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very excited to introduce you to this live streams. What we really want to know is we want to know a little bit about yourself. Maybe you can introduce yourself because I don't want to do injustice and introduce you and not give the audience a full picture about yourself. So maybe you should tell
Mm-hmm.
us a little bit about yourself, maybe where you're from originally and what you currently do, and
Sure.
what's your involvement in IT, that kind of stuff. Just anything that you feel like you want to share with us that could be beneficial. Uh,
Perfect.
okay.
Sure. I think first of all, I should say thank you for this platform. I'm grateful to you. So, um, thank you for having me, and I'm being heard to
Thank you
the
for coming.
audiences.
We really appreciate your time. You're giving up your time for this.
No, no, thank you so much. So yes, myself, Taffazzel Hossain. I'm originally from India, east part of India, Calcutta. So yeah, I'm from Calcutta. So I came to UK in 2014. Before I came, I had around 4.5 years of teaching experience. I was into teaching, and I had done engineering in computer science, bachelor engineering. And then I thought, I think I need to pursue more studies and stuff like that. So I came to UK to pursue my masters. So I did 2 year masters. So basically, as you know, 4 months first sem, then 4 months second, then you go for internship, then you come back and do like your master's dissertation. So I did 2 year masters. So in 2 years, I had 8 months internship, and last 4 months I had like like master's thesis dissertations. So 8 months I worked in the university itself with one of my professor, Ruzana. Yes, she was very nice, very helpful, kind. I learned a lot of things from her. So at that time I did like she was doing some she was doing a peer like project. And I was just a, like I would say, research. What was my role actually? Research
Mm.
assistant, I guess. Yes, research assistant. So my job was to like do to text quantitative and not quantitative, so qualitative analysis. So not quantitative, sorry. So basically text analysis. So I did write Python code and all. I was working with closely working with PhD guys, what they were doing. So I was fortunate to be in that team for around 8 months. Then I came back to pursue my master's degree, like my dissertation, and I did dissertation in a very specialized field like machine learning algorithm. So as a probabilistic latent semantic analysis, the project was really good. And I was little bit not sure, but very much focused. Like I was probably going to do PhD in that field. So my professor
Mm,
said, Alexander said, like it's a very good topic. You can really scale thing up. So you can think of a PhD on this topic. So, but what I found, like in meanwhile, I was thinking, like is PhD is would be a good option, or maybe industry would be better option. So, and I was thinking like if I can get an industry where I can explore data world, maybe before doing PhD, or before maybe not doing PhD at this moment and going for industry to explore the business aspect. And nowadays, mostly things are on like outsource, but like open source. So you can really work on research and development by yourself as well. If you want, you can contribute to the field. So no one is stopping me to contribute to the field in terms of research and development. And I was thinking, so I got an opportunity for to do my internship again, another 4 month internship after pursuing my like after finishing my master's project. So I went to Glasgow.
mm.
So triple working
Oh, you
instead
worked with,
Glasgow.
did you work with Mujahid then in Glasgow?
Actually, I joined Mujahid joined later. So
Oh, I
it
see.
was early 2016.
Ah,
So I joined Cloudweek Technologies, great company, great team, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. So they offered me an internship. I joined that. So and I continued like 4 months, I guess. Yes. Then they sponsored me full time role over there. Then I thought, okay, let's not think about PhD right now. It's a very good opportunity, and a lot of things I learned literally from scratch. Basically, I didn't have much exposure on Linux. I didn't have much exposure on very like that time many cutting edge technologies, and I learned over there.
mm,
So Hadoop, I learned cloud computing. I learned in my university, but it was like a very theoretical. I would say little bit, not much practical, but I learned. I got to know like how cloud computing works and all everything in Cloudweek. I would say Cloudweek is a very turning point of my career. Then I learned there like literally I used to be in trainings. They used to organize trainings for like initial days, like at least for a couple of months. Initially they organized training. So I'm very grateful. So I learned Hadoop there, like Cloudweek Technologies. They had like very much Hadoop at that time. Their business would be very much Hadoop focused and big data engineering focused, not only data engineering. But my role was data engineering, but I think their business was very much Hadoop and big data. So I learned that like, at the time Hadoop would be coming from different distributions like Cloudera, Mapper, Hortonworks. So I was put into Hortonworks team. I did a certification as well in Hortonworks for Hortonworks certified Hadoop administrator. So I was doing okay, but I think I was literally thinking of doing more coding than administration and Hadoop administration. Too much Linux stuff. So I would say okay, but I was thinking to go into development more than the admin. So I slowly moved to development. That time Spark was actually one point some version was going on at that time. So now Spark 3.4.1 on going on. But that time Spark was literally getting introduced into wider teams and wider industries, I would say. So we adopted Spark. First time I wrote Spark that time, late 2016, I would say. So the yeah, PySpark was not that mature that time.
mm,
But so we were working more on Scala. Then slowly I moved by late 2016 and early 2017. I moved to Python Spark, PySpark, and then Cloudweek Technology also. It was a purely consulting company, so they basically they're quite agile, I would say, their business strategy. So they focus more into cloud computing and like cloud stuff, basically AWS. So I learned AWS stuff over there. So I did solution architect associate and solution architect professional while I was working in Cloud Week. So it was great opportunity for me. So I learned cloud computing and cloud services, AWS focused cloud services, and how the data engineering works, how big data can be made working on cloud or maybe on-prem and cloud both combo mode.
mm.
So I work in Nordea Bank for around 4 months. So Nordea Bank in Poland. Yeah,
Yep.
so for 4 months as a Hadoop developer, so over there, that was basically on-prem. That time, still cloud was not that adapted in banks especially.
mm,
So mostly on-prems. So I again joined for a short term. I would say 4 to 5 months engagement from Cloud Week. So as a Hadoop developer, so what we developed there, like we delivered a pipeline on Hadoop. So at any point of time, so business users want to see, like, because resources are very costly. So and Hadoop, basically Hadoop works on big table concept. So it's a bit resource intensive sometimes. So they want to see like how the resources are going on and how the clusters health and all. So they wanted to get a pipeline, so different clusters health can be monitored in one visualization. Anyways, like on Hortonworks there that time Ambari would be there. So anyways, any cluster would have come with their own UI, but they wanted a customized UI with having summarized different clusters together. So, and not only that live table, it was the not mainly intention was not to see live, but rather definitely the historical, like that time, how much that resources were being used that time for that particular
mm,
application, that kind of stuff. So we delivered that. It was in Python and on Hadoop, Hive, yeah, intensively
mm,
we used we used Hive, and we worked on basically that time Yarn was in play. Kubernetes came later on, so we literally worked on that application level, application ID level. So we had to find out information at the application ID and how much memory CPU basically like resources being utilized. So that was really good exercise for me and good exposure, I would say. So again, after 4 to 5 months, again I came back to like my big data development on cloud. That one with Nordia was very much uh, like on-prem focused, but this one again I'm back. So I got back to different cloud and on-premise technologies. So that time there was a project with SMS smart metering system. So yeah, so I was posted there for that role. Sorry, for that project. So I was working as a big data developer. That project, I would say, got me into amazing any I mean experience, I would say, because that it was entirely pipeline.
mm,
So pipeline based right from the migration to ETL and then visualization. Basically, they are what they were doing. They had reporting tools, very much like traditional way of doing things, Excel based and file based. They had Power BI on Excel. Okay,
mm,
so it wasn't like scalable at all. So they wanted to get rid of those things, and also they wanted to get rid of that on-premise databases. They had SQL database. I think SQL. Uh, Oracle was there for sure, and there was another on-prem database. I forgot at this moment. So
Post
what we had to do,
SQL, was it Postgres SQL or
Postgres not. I think
no?
MySQL.
MySQL. Okay.
I
Oracle.
think
You had
MySQL only.
Oracle.
Yes.
Yeah, mainly in like in the financial sector, they have Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
Some there was a project where we used MongoDB, like a no
Mm-hmm.
SQL kind of
Document. Yes.
database. Yeah,
Document DB. Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
unstructured uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
database. Yeah. So yeah, some banks use that, but mainly they have Oracle. That's why I noticed they always have
Mm-hmm.
anything that's on the Linux platform. They always have
Mm-hmm.
Oracle. And if
Yeah.
it's Microsoft based, if their applications run on Microsoft server, they would usually have
SQL Server. Yeah.
yeah SQL Server.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
So.
fantastic. So you yeah carry on. I don't want to interrupt you because
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sure.
you're
Sure.
flowing.
So yes. Yeah. So then that project was mainly three phase. As I mentioned, like migration, ETL. Once you do migration, that kind of that time we didn't have much idea of like data lake. Data lake though was in talk, but not much. I would say early 2018. We, nobody in our team was experiencing data lake, but we knew like theoretically what it is. So we kind of built a data lake sort of thing. So the data were coming as is, and we were dumping on S3, and from there different data would be served for different purposes. or
Mhm.
focused for different purposes. So would be put for different pipelines. But data lake, we sort of kind of build data lake, and that time Glue just came into the market. After S3 Athena, Amazon Athena, after Athena came into market, I think Glue, yes, 2018, early 2018, Glue just came into market. So we were quite excited to use catalog, Glue catalog. It was pretty good. So that
So
time we
these
felt
these
good.
technical stacks you're talking about, this was in a financial client, financial services client, or
It's
did I,
no, it was
that
not
was if
this
because you
client.
said you did something with Nordia, and then after that you
Yeah, that
moved
was
to another
actually
pro.
this consulting company.
Yeah,
So it based on projects,
yeah. I've been there myself, and but
yeah.
from my experience, the financial services are usually a little bit behind other sort of
Hmm.
sectors. So I worked in a bank, and I was telling
Hmm.
them about data warehousing and all that stuff, and it was very new
Hmm.
to them. You know, they had lots of data. There was a lot of delays, bottlenecks, and I was starting to tell them about like creating, data marts and data
Hmm.
warehouses and stuff like that. And it was very new that back then. But
Okay, okay.
yeah, but other sectors, I noticed that they were adopting all these things like Hadoop, Spark, all
Hmm.
these stuff that
Hmm.
you've mentioned. So that's why
Hmm.
I was very impressed. I assumed that all these stacks you were mentioning, it was for a financial client. So I was impressed that they're actually, someone in
Yeah,
financial
no,
services
this.
were adopting
Okay, okay. No, this particular project was not
data.
financial client. It's a public company,
Mm.
or like SMS. Is it a public company in the UK? Not sure, but it's a well-known company. They install meters. Not
Okay.
sure. Maybe your house also have SMS meters.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have they have like a different set of clients. One is like commercial, and one is like public. Like houses, and for like every government offices, and different type of set of users they had, or clients they had. So they had this reporting tool. The company was based in Cambridge, so they had this reporting tool very much on prem, and they wanted to get rid of that and wanted to scale as well. And they were expecting by like in coming 2 3 years they will have a lot of data, and that's why they were doing this exercise. So by the time maybe next 1.5 year, they'll be ready to adopt the new mass of data, bulk data.
Yeah.
So that the project we did, and we did amazing, I think, job over there. The most importantly, what we solved that time, I would say, technical problem. It's change data capture, right? When you do in the like delta operation in database is one of the tricky thing. Insert, delete, and update operation. So you have an existing, so you migrate data from database to S3, for example, and you have an update, right, in the table. How will you get that? So CDC, AWS has a service, DMS, database migration service. It itself catches that CDC. But if you want to like have it replicated on S3, this is an object storage, right? It won't be replicated on its own. So we had to deal with this delta thing over there. Now, right now we can see delta format came widely used, delta format in big
Mm.
data, but that time it wasn't. So we did it in PySpark. So that was one of the challenge. We so what I meant, like each time, like night 12 o'clock, the migration service will turn on, and we'll
Okay.
get everything, all the change data capture, because full load will happen one time, and then change data capture, whatever will come, will be
So
loaded to S3,
so
and
this is
we
like
will
a
have another.
cron job, is it? Like a cron
Yes,
job
yes,
that
cron job.
takes in
Yes, yes, yes.
scheduled cron. Okay.
Yeah, and
And then it will
DMS will be
distribute.
responsible to get the only change data. This is called CDC change data capture, and dump it to S3. But we had one pipeline in PySpark. What it would do, like it will merge these two data, and it will find out the whatever the change data capture came right now, and it will do the delta operation, which is very much a database operation on database management system. Any database operation will have delta operation, but that we did on object storage in
Mm-hmm.
coding in PySpark.
Okay.
So yeah, that was one challenge, I would say. And so that delta job, or sorry, that PySpark job, whenever they would run, they would show exactly same way what the database was showing. And they were very happy. Like
Okay.
it was actually showing like a database like feature. So I would say yes, that's project we did. Then after that, I was posted another project as like office for national statistics. So I was there. That project, I would say, more infrastructure than data. It was more infrastructure, and we had to write a lot of cloud
Yeah.
formation. That time, like cloud formation was very famous for AWS. So a lot of cloud formation we had to write for infrastructure as a code. And then after that, it was around by late 2018, and by 19 uh, early 19 I worked for herds. That was purely data engineering role as well. I spent 6 months there. I was responsible for writing PySpark jobs. Herds means like car rental company,
Mm,
right? So I spent 6 months over there. By 2019 middle, I changed my job. I joined Arab Consulting. Not
mhm.
sure you have heard Arab Consulting. It's a
Yeah.
very giant English, very much English company,
Mhm,
like in terms of architecture. So in England, in UK, anywhere, in any complicated building, you can think this might have been designed by Arab.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I know a little bit about it because I have
Oh,
a
okay, okay,
friend,
okay. So yeah,
a
very good
friend.
company.
Yeah, yeah. I have a very close friend in Saudi Arabia, and they do a lot of architectural stuff, and they're
Yes, yes.
associated, and so I he kind of introduced me to these companies.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
So
it's
Arrow is a great company. Yes, I worked there for another 3 years as a data engineer. So, but 3 years in my role was data engineer, but for around 8 to 10 months, I wasn't actually doing data engineering. What I was doing, like cloud engineer or maybe cloud infrastructure engineer. To be honest, I didn't enjoy much, and I try to stay more in ETL development or Python coding or problem solving. Obviously cloud infrastructure is also a problem solving, but probably I don't don't get much excitement. So
yeah. Can
yes,
I
so
just ask you quickly something?
yeah, sure.
I know you mentioned you did Scala, functional programming, which is Scala is very similar like a JVM language,
Hmm.
so it runs on
Hmm.
the Java virtual machine, and then
Hmm.
a lot of times you've mentioned also Python. So would
Hmm.
you say that you prefer to develop in Python, in programming language Python, or do you prefer to work on a Java based language? And also, could you give me an idea maybe on other programming languages maybe that you've worked on, whether it's just in academia or
Sure,
even
sure, sure.
commercially? What and which language do you prefer? What's your favorite
Yeah, yeah,
language
sure.
you feel comfortable
To
in?
be honest, yeah, sure, sure. So to be honest, as a data engineer, and if you think like a efficient data engineer, I should prefer Scala, because Scala is a very native language, and like very close to JVM, and like Spark is written Scala itself. So I should prefer Scala, but I'm not really proficient. You can blame me for this. I'm not really much proficient, and I've always been somehow stayed in Python world or PySpark. So that's why I've not really managed much to work on Scala Spark. I have
Mhm.
worked very little. I can understand Scala, but I'm not. If you put me in a team like I need to deliver fast tickets on Scala Spark, I'm not there.
Mhm.
So if you say Taffazzel, what is the best thing? It depends the team and the company, the budget they have and all. But like in order to work best out of Spark, I would say Scala is the number one choice. It should be. But
Okay.
generally, people go Python because of that. I would say easy learning.
Yeah.
I find myself easy learning, as well as you get easy available. Like if you are a company, you need people, like you will get easily PySpark. Like
Mhm.
people know PySpark. Many people, but Scala Spark a bit less. So generally, I think overall people just go by PySpark more. It's because of the convenience. I think so. It's my interpretation.
Mhm.
But if you ask me, Tafazal, what is the best? I would say Scala.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what would be your strongest language? You would say Python. Python is the one that you feel naturally in more. Is that
yeah,
correct?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Python. Yeah, I'm more comfortable in Python.
All
Though
right.
I have to start working on Scala. You pointed out a
Yeah.
very valid question. Like as a data engineer, I think Scala is the first choice. Should be.
Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of efficiency and all, but still
Yeah.
we go by Spark as in terms of con. That's a blunt truth, I think.
Mm, mm.
And yeah, so
Yeah,
PySpark.
my experience is kind of strange because I started doing C and C++ just on my own before I even went to
Mm-hmm,
university when I was a
mm-hmm,
teenager. So I learned C and C++, and then after that, I went into PHP. I was doing web
mm-hmm,
development in PHP, and then when I went to back to university because I first did
mm-hmm,
economics and then I went did a few things and then I went back again to university to do computer science. It was mainly Java. That's what they were teaching. But however, my first role, I was doing C++ and C sharp. That was my first commercial, sort of proper commercial experience in the oil and gas sector. And then when I went into the financial sector,
mm-hmm,
they were working in Java. So I ended up working for a long
mm-hmm,
period as a Java developer.
mm-hmm,
With in between, I had a project
mm-hmm.
in Ireland, which was in C++ and C sharp, because I already had experience. So they kind of, I was part of a consultancy company, just like you, what you're doing, and so they put me on the role, which was a senior C++ developer for. I don't know if you heard of Summit FT. So I had, so then I ended up working in C++ again, and then so you know, like when you stop developing in one language and you start going to another, eventually you have to, it takes a little time to switch back.
Yes,
Yeah,
syntax especially and the
so
style of
yeah,
writing.
so yeah, just get back into C++ and not try to code in Java. So yeah, so that was like going back again into that, and I enjoyed it. You know, it took me a while to get back and to remember things, but then I got back into the move. Then I got switched into a Java project again. So then I ended up going more into Java for a while,
Mm-hmm,
but then I went back to my passion, which is going to C++, going to assembly, and you know, just going back going low
mm-hmm,
level. And I got exposure to, I don't know if you know about open standard architecture. So it's very similar to, you know, you have open source, you know, like Linux
mm-hmm,
and so on. You can access source code and you can do your own implementation. Now what you have, it's been a few years. It's not that
mm-hmm,
recent, but it's recently taken off in a big way, which is like open standard hardware. So,
mm-hmm,
for example, in CPUs, like Intel and so on, they're very much closed. They're proprietary. They design the
mm-hmm,
CPU. You can't copy their CPU,
mm-hmm,
and if you do want to copy something, or you have to pay for a license, like AMD, you have to pay license fee and so on to take
mm-hmm,
their architectural design and implement your own CPU and so on. And if there's some vulnerability in the CPU, you can't do anything about it. If you discover a vulnerability and
mm-hmm.
it's related to the hardware, there's nothing you could do about it. All you could do, you can report it, or Intel will
Report,
know
yeah.
about it, and Intel will fix it. But they can't, like, update the CPU remotely. It's not like software. You like, you can
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
pull request and update on the GitHub or something. You can't do any of that. So they have to manufacture a new CPU. So they can only uh, patch that vulnerability or fix that issue in the next generation of processor. Okay, so it's very much closed. So what you have is the reduced instruction set architecture, which is risk into architecture based on AMD. So the AMD,
Mm-hmm,
which
mm-hmm,
used to be called Acorn long time ago. Um, so they are their CPU is based on risk. Same what Apple Mac uses. They use the
mm-hmm,
risk CPUs, right? Not the complex instruction set,
mm-hmm,
which is it's much bigger. It takes more electricity and so on. But the reduced instruction sets, because they have a lot less instructions, um, they basically use low power, so the battery would last longer. So there's all these benefits with low power
mm-hmm,
and more economical friend. That's why they use them in mobile phones. That's why Apple at max and so on. They use these risk
Mhm.
processors. However, AMD is still closed. It's still a company. They design a CPU and it's proprietary. So if there's an issue, they have to fix it. So there is advantage.
Okay.
However, now what's happened, and there have been movements in this, in Berkeley University in America, they started with creating an open standard, like open source hardware. It's not really open source like software,
Mhm.
but what it is, they publish the design just on GitHub in hardware definition language like Verilog, if you heard of Verilog,
Mhm.
and then people can just download the code, and they can basically compile as if you're compiling, but you compile it on something called FPGA, Field Programmable Gate Array
Mhm.
chip,
Mhm.
which is reprogrammable chip. Okay,
Mhm.
and that's where you can basically implement your own CPU on these FPGA chips. If you
Mhm.
identify a vulnerability, you can fix it in code and then
Mhm.
compile it and build it on these FPGA chips. And then obviously you can commit the code so that all the
Mhm.
people, the public, can benefit from
Mhm.
this fix that you've just implemented. So it's an open source kind of, like free software or free,
Mhm.
ecosystem. Same with the idea of open source and so on. So that way, what happened is open a uh, big now marketplace, because now in India they're implementing their own CPUs. They've got their own CPUs out there in Taiwan, China. They have
China.
these initiatives where they're promoting every student, every computer science student, engineering student to create their own CPU or to create their own custom chips, own custom microprocessors. So there's a lot of research going on in this field. Risk Five is called. I'm a member of Risk Five community, so I'm always advocating and
Okay.
promoting it and so on. But yeah, this is just it's fascinating. So I'm more now. I'm going lower level. I'm starting from the high level languages, and I'm going lower and lower and lower down to the hardware side, and that way is also helping me as a developer, because once I start understanding exactly how processors work, how memory works, and the hardware side, it's making me more conscious when I'm starting to code in any language. I'm starting to, oh yeah, I have to, look after, manage the memory. It's not like in Java. Java, a lot of stuff, it takes care of a lot of things like,
Mhm.
garbage collection and all these high level, they take care of all these issues, memory management, so on. But when you're in C programming, you have to, you know, uh, cons-
Manage the
get rid
memory.
of get rid of the the
Yeah.
objects that you don't need. You have to do a lot of stuff in a thing, and if you understand the hardware, it helps you as well as develop. But yeah, that's just something
Okay.
on the side. I'm sorry for talking too much, but yeah,
No, no,
this
no.
is
That's really
this is
good.
really
Good to
interesting.
know. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So no, but I think
I'll
I have
let you
also
carry
loved.
on. Yeah,
Yeah, sure, sure. So university days, I have also like I would say I was good in C, but the thing is, I've never got an opportunity to use in commercial place.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
so
So
mostly.
just continue on from your commercial experience. So
Mhm.
which company after
Then
that you went
Arup,
into
yes, Arup. I
yeah,
joined
that's
Arup.
right.
Then I stayed
Yeah,
there for another 3 years.
yeah.
Then I joined Senicron last year,
I know them. Very
and
good company. Very good company.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
it is a very good company. Yes, and
Yes.
now like I joined 4th of July 2022 last year, and
Uh-huh.
on the same day I started working for HSBC, and
Uh-huh.
I'm still working. So phase two
Alhamdulillah.
development we are just delivering now. Phase three development starting
As a
next
data engineer, so you're now working as a data engineer?
pure, yes, pure data engineer.
Okay.
And like this role, I like one thing like I'm working fully as a developer and one of the responsible developer I am right now in the team. So I work like very closely with data scientists, data DevOps, and I think we are and BA. Yes, we have like four skill sets and one delivery manager. So BA, we have BAs, we have data scientists, we have DevOps, and we have data engineers like me, and we have testing team like QA team, and they make sure the quality of the business requirements they get properly get tested.
Yeah.
So yeah, and mostly I like I write Python code, Python, PySpark, SQL, and I would say bit like extensively Spark, like PySpark. Yeah, PySpark we write on like and so the applications we write, it gets Dockerized, and
Mm,
through Kubernetes it gets executed. So at this moment, we are using Spark
mm.
3.3, 2.1, yes, 3.2.1.
Yeah.
Those, I think we'll soon
The
be
main.
migrated to 4.1, yes, which
Okay,
is the latest.
so you know all these things. I mean, you're a data engineer, but do you touch on any of the financial applications that they use in the bank? You know, like any
Yes,
sort of third
yeah.
party. Like, do you connect into like Bloomberg or you know any other sort of back office applications?
So yes, we have different data sets coming from different sources,
Uh,
and E and Y, they do like the giant and strategize. So they have the strategies, and a lot of data comes from like from them as well in terms of strategy. So the data we work on, it's financial data, and
uh,
like we Right, a lot of the project we are doing is ingestion, so data ingestion. So like
okay.
forecasting some rating will be forecasting will be forecast from there from the pipelines.
Yeah.
So before the pipelines actually get that data, so models can be implemented. So we have another pipeline. That's where I am working right now, where like ingestion is taking place, and
Mm,
ingestions taking before the ingestion happens, lot of checks. So otherwise, so if the ingestion fails also, we are doing cataloging for everything, whatever data we entertain, whether it's
mm,
corrupt data, good data, bad data, failed data, we are cataloging in at the entry point, and then we pass we do all the checks. We have schema level check, data level check, like data quality check, lot of different checks for different pipelines to be available, to be
mm,
made available. So we are doing those checks, and
yeah.
then will get ingested into some like at this moment BigQuery. So we are
Okay.
using their delta format. So initially we were using Parquet, but later we switched to delta to get
Uh,
that one. Remember I was talking about the delta. So
yeah.
basically two things like atomicity, acid property, and the time travel. Time travel is the main motivation for us to switch to delta table, so we can travel by the versions to that particular time. What was that?
Okay.
Yeah, what was the like
Yeah.
situation of the table for that particular time or the particular version? So we are
Yeah.
doing delta at this moment. Yeah,
You know,
and
like
cat.
you mentioned that you wanted to do a PhD at some point, and then you found like getting commercial experience is better. Do you feel like from that experience so far, up to the HSBC project that you're doing, are you starting to refine some ideas that potentially could be good research topics? Did you identify, are you, I mean, you don't have to mention any topic, but do you see that there are some issues or problems that can be solved through a PhD research? Or yeah, there is nothing,
I
or you feel,
think to me, PhD research is more theory. I say like theory means not like book theory. I'm talking about theoretical computer science,
okay?
or maybe more towards mathematics, close to mathematics. Like you work on a lot of theories to get proved, then little bit industry exposure as well.
Mm.
So
I mean, that in
sometimes
PhD is really what it is. It's just you have to identify a problem and look at a very
yeah,
niche, very small issue, and then you
narrowed
just
down,
work,
yes.
narrow it down to just this very small incremental contribution. Not like try to solve the world or you know solve a big issue. Just
Mm-hmm.
identify a very small problem and say, okay, this problem no one else, and look at all everyone else what they've done in that particular area,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just say, okay, this is my little contribution, something very very tiny contribution, and then you just write a report about it. But yeah, what I want to say, because you know Zoom only gives us a limited time, and until inshallah I upgrade to this pro version, um,
Sure.
I just want to tell you that you can actually um, do a PhD part time and
Mm-hmm.
while you're at working, because I'm actually on doing PhD research, but I'm on part-time basis, which gives me
Okay.
flexibility to pause, to you know, to
Mm-hmm.
like meet the supervisor once a week, once a month, and you know you got more flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
and you can do it on your own pace, and you can work do it remotely. So it's not necessarily that you have to do
Yes,
this or
yes, true.
that or do full-time PhD. You could do it while while you're working, and in the back of your mind, oh, what I need to do in my first year, I need to really look for a problem, really a really interesting problem, and
I
that's
haven't
really
really, I see what you mean. I
that's
haven't,
what I'm saying to
yeah,
you. That like you could
true,
put it in
true.
the back of your mind, and you can be registered as a PhD research student, and in the back of your mind, in the first year, because you got up to 7 years. In my first year, all I want to do is I just want to work, and while I'm working, I want to identify a little problem that could be the one that I'm going to work on. I think we are cut off now, unfortunately. So I'm going to end this stream, inshallah, until I upgrade to Zoom Pro. Then I'll have more time with my guests. So do forgive me for all the viewers. Inshallah, I will have a part two with Mujahid and all the other guests as well that haven't quite finished. So, Assalamu alaikum for now, and do join me for next stream, inshallah.